All right, folks, welcome back to the Miles and Points Report. This is episode number 15. Wow, we've been going on for a while, and thanks so much for everybody for dialing in again. And I'm going to have this is going to be a little bit more of an interesting show than a different show than earlier, because we're going to have Marshall that's going to join me throughout the whole thing, reporting live from the nation's capital. And there you have it. Welcome to the show, Marshall. Good to see you again.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me.
We're going to chat a little bit about a couple of various things this today. I'm seeing that I'm a little bit blurry for some reason. Maybe it's because I'll turn a little light on here and see what we got going on. We're going to chat a couple of interesting things today on the agenda. We're going to talk first we're going to chat a little bit about award searches, which is a thing that we've seen now that we've done a full season and it came to an end with the Travel and Adventure Show. We've seen that people are normal people, not hobby people. Are struggling with award searches. We've had we for us, we know how to do this stuff and we know how to waste our time. And honestly, I waste too much time looking at various things. And there has been some tools. We know our friends, multiple people have tried to do it, but to do some sort of a smart version of it. And finally, we've had some luck in getting a new product out there. So we're going to talk to Tiffany Funk, and Tiffany is a friend we've been friends with for a long time. First time I met her was at the FTU in DC when we were at the Hilton, outside of the Hilton headquarters, I think it was. So she's going to join us in a few minutes. Then we're going to chat with Jamie a little bit about some credit cards that are being discontinued. We're going to chat a little bit with him. Actually, he's on now, so let's do him first. He was supposed to be on from the beginning. I just wanted to chat a little bit about some development of something that happened this week that he made me aware of, and that after it popped up at 1 mile at a time. Jamie, thanks for stopping by. Let's look a little bit about. I wanted to chat just really quickly about the changes. It's not that often that we see that a credit card product kind of goes away, like completely, right?
Yeah, the Radisson card just went away. Well, it's going away in the next few months.
Yeah. So you told me this before it actually became public, and I saw a day after you told me, it actually popped up at 1 mile at a time also. So but nobody has kind of paid attention to this, but you as me, we kind of see a little bit of value of this card.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this card for quite a few years. So at first, I think everybody and his brother had this card because of the buy one, get one on award redemptions. Mm-hmm. That went away, and that was probably one of the most lucrative offers, out there in the miles and points world. But when that got killed, I still kept the card because it comes with gold status. And frankly, you can't earn Radisson points anywhere else. And Radisson is valuable in Europe and in a few select US markets, but mainly international. So I've kept the card. Now I have no idea what I'm going to do, frankly, because you can't get Radisson points elsewhere. I'm not going to put any spend on this card. There's absolutely no point. I think I'm just going to cancel it. I really don't know what to do. I don't know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I agree. It was more valuable for before when you bought one, get one for your redemption, but it still had value because you did get 40,000 points, Radisson points per year, which for the $69 a year that this card cost wasn't really that much money. And also the gold status, while it's a useless card here in the United States, and also that they have they don't have any good properties. I mean, there's one Radisson Blue by if you go to Disney, that's pretty decent. Couple in Minneapolis, also the one in Chicago where we have our loyalty summit on June 16th is a great property. But in Europe, gold means breakfast. You usually are able to they give you a business class room, which includes breakfast, and that's valuable to me. And they're really good with the upgrades. And gold also means that you get a welcome amenity in your room, and you get more points. So and like you said, it's valuable if you go to Europe a lot. So I'm obviously not going to keep it. It's a U.S. bank product. I haven't even read into that what you get, but it's kind of weird. There was another weakness with this card. It had foreign transaction fees, which is made it, we had our event that we had at the Mayfair in London for many years. We've had it there. But at the end of the day, I never paid my bill there because, it was like 2-3% fee on top of everything going. So not the best gig. So I think U.S.
trying to get you to stay at Radisson's, and Radisson is in Europe, right? Primarily, I don't know why there would be foreign fees. That seems no sense to me.
Right, but Radisson split into two because of regulation. Like Lucky is covering this pretty good in this article here, right? Where he writes about the reasoning behind it. They split the programs into two. You have Radisson Rewards Americas, and then you got Radisson Rewards, overseas, and because of the Chinese Privacy Acts, and they don't want to have access to people's information, limit access to people. So it's purely political stuff, which has used this. But I think also that the value of the card kind of disappears. You can transfer your points over to, you can transfer your points over to Europe still, but you have no, like you said, you have no means to get it going, because how do you earn? I mean, it's spending the money on the card that kind of it's just the value is not there, unfortunately. But I have a call into to the Radisson folks right now. They didn't get back to me, unfortunately, until today, but hopefully we will hear some news about what's going to happen next, because even if it was like a whole production, you had your gold status here. It wasn't valid in Europe. You had to match it to Europe, meaning you had to send your Radisson Rewards number from here over to the Europeans, and they had to do it. If the email didn't match, they would decline your thing, and the cookies had to be cleared. It was just a big, messy thing. And also, I still haven't been able to transfer my American points or U.S. points over to the Radisson in Europe. So anyways, it's fine. So what we're saying is we're going to dump this card, right?
Yeah, I got no reason to keep it. In the card that they're transferring it to, Lucky covers this. I don't know. It just seems like some bogus, it earns a few points here and there, but it's nothing.
It's an annual fee. There's no fee on this card. The Altitude Go Visa signature card, which is, to me, it's just not
Frankly, I might keep it because there is no annual fee, and this is one of my older credit cards, so I don't know that there's necessarily a reason to cancel it. I might just charge a 7-Eleven purchase on there once a year just to keep it active, but I'm not going to use it. Let's put it that way.
That's true. I'm also probably going to keep it. I have a $30,000 limit on it, so obviously it has a big impact on the credit to cancel it. So since it is free, it's a drawer. It's officially a drawer card. Not that the other one wasn't either, though. All right, Jamie, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your evening, and I'll see you soon.
You too.
Bye. All right, we're gonna go back into let's end the sharing here. So we talked about the general audience for an FTU person now is kind of changing a bit. And since the person is changing, meaning that we're focusing more on being at the Travel and Adventure Show, where there are, all the shows we're at 9 next year, there's going to be like over 100,000 people attending, way over 100,000 people attending. And the most complicated thing, we can teach everybody how to earn miles and points, right, Marshall? And
yes,
but the burning part of it is always the one that's kind of critical. So it's very time consuming to check all of these portals. I know that I to be honest, I'm not 100% up to speed. I know that this was a big launch, and when good people do good things, I want to try and support it. So we had, what were they called, the company before? The couple of Russian guys that started, they sponsored the FTU a long time ago. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
I know who you're talking about.
There has been an attempt to make something similar before, but now we have a product finally out there that's mainstream and all that. And I'm going to bring in Tiffany, who is coming live from, my goodness, Tiffany, how long has it been?
Hi, it's been a while.
Wow, you look fantastic.
Well, thank you. I have to say this, I heard you say podcast. Obviously, it's a webcast. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm literally poolside. So you're welcome, everyone, for like the lack of anything on my face. And I did go and be like, okay, let's just keep the camera off and go and put on, not just my bathing suit.
Right.
We're in Palm Springs and it's our last day here. So it's been
yeah, I saw the puppy.
laptop
You brought
by
the
the
puppy
pool.
with you on vacation.
We did. Well, it hasn't really been vacation. We just came down here. We've been working from here for the past month, spending time with my in-laws. Right. And this is the worst time of year in the Northwest because it's just mud.
Yeah.
Right. It's
no,
not cold. It's not warm. It's
that.
just mud. And with the dog, it's not recommended.
So he has been clean now for a while, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's in the pool every day.
Right. So it's been noticed right now that you guys have, and congratulations, you're such a hard working and super smart. And I just think that it's fabulous that you're having the success with your new launch.
Thank you.
And you bring a lot to the table for this. So tell us a little bit about Points.me, or how do you say it? Point Me or Points.me or?
Yeah, Point Me.
Point Me.
Fortunately for everyone involved, Points.me will also get you there.
Right.
So we anticipated this particular bit of confusion. And that's, years of Points Pros and being like, there's 2 S's and otherwise you won't get there. So Point Me or Points Me, however you get there, we're here to help.
Right.
And we really wanted to take the hassle and the headache out of booking awards. My team, we've been doing it for over a decade. Mm-hmm. Adam and his team at Juicy Miles, huge team there of people who have been doing award booking and mileage runs and things like that. And, they'd done some stuff where they basically built an internal tool to help speed things up for their team, and then looked at it and said, you know what, this could be a thing. This could be really cool. Yeah. What if we were going to make a consumer facing product? What would we need to do to get it to the point where our moms could book their own award flights?
Right.
Right. So, that's the gold standard is, and how do we get to the point where we're not getting screenshots from our friends asking like, is this a good deal? So
that's the best point I've ever heard if I've ever heard one. But that's the thing. And also, you do this for a living. It's really tough to, say no. That's why it's the only reason why I have the thing on my iPhone where it doesn't say red. It's because there's always somebody. So is this a good deal? Should I sign up for this card? Should I do this?
Right.
Should I do that?
I mean, it might be, but like, is it a good deal for you? That's a longer conversation.
Exactly.
Although we've tried to answer a lot of that. So
right. And what we've learned also, I don't, you've been super busy. We haven't caught up in a while. By the way, Melinda told me to say hello. She just she misses you. But what we've been doing so far is to try to get to a broader audience because the same people talking about the same scams over and over again. It's all good in the hood. But at the end of the day, what we've always struggled with is for us to get a little bit more broad and newer things. You have the kids with their Tic Tacs and all of that, the Chinese dancing when they're hopping up and down and all that stuff that I don't know anything about. And I've reached my limit on social media right now. We've kind of seen that people are interested in this thing, but the threshold of where actually this is how far I would like to go to learn how to earn miles and points. We've gotten good at that. We've told them, there's a 1, 2, 3 step on how to get enough miles to get somewhere and how to do things. It's easy to teach people that. But when it comes to redeeming, boy, it's now that everybody's in the game of transferring. You've got Capital One, you've got Citi, everybody can transfer. You have so many opportunity now that's when the problem starts, right?
Right. And I think that it's something that's helpful for people who, maybe know me a little bit from the blog or, have maybe seen some things that Adam and the team have done around. We have been helping people use their miles to travel since before Ultimate Rewards even existed.
Right.
It's like we've been doing this for a minute. And so we bring a lot of that perspective in terms of what you can do and how to make it easy and also understanding what people's expectations are. Until February, when we announced that the companies were being combined, we were still taking checks at Points Pros. So we're really, I know, everyone loves to hear that. And of course, Ben's dad is delightful. And he's been he's very concerned now because he's not receiving as many checks because we're taking more of the payments on the internet.
Right.
So there's some solvency concerns coming from.
How is he doing, by the way? I thought he had some health issues, but he's doing okay?
Yeah, they're doing great. They're doing great. We're really blessed there.
Right?
Yeah. So everyone's fortunately doing really well at this moment. Right. So that's really, really positive. So yeah, like that's the perspective we're bringing to all of this. Where
and also, I mean, it's also the whole thing about managing expectation. People think that if they pay you $200 or 150, whatever it is, which is not a lot of money for the time that this can take, they think that you're going to find first class on June 15th to go into Europe on every single flight there is if they just pay you $200.
It was a lot easier back when we were doing this, and Lufthansa was running a 16-seat first cabin. I won't lie. It was
not
much
so much
easier.
Anymore, if at all any.
Transfer to Aeroplan, no fuel surcharges. Sure, whenever you want to go. Detroit, Frankfurt, absolutely. There's first class space.
No kidding.
It's a recliner, but they're calling it first, so we're going to run with it.
There you have it. So, but I think that this is a much better proposition. It's well priced, and I did a trial. I purchased yesterday, or I did the 24-hour. You gave me 24 hours for $5, I think it was, which was enough for me to get a test run and try and feel of it. So, do you want to maybe share the screen and walk us through it? Is that so? It's the share button at the bottom there. Do you see
I can. Hang on. Let me minimize all of my scandalous tabs.
Yeah, your scandalous tabs. Yeah.
Mostly it's just because it makes people anxious who are not aggressive tab users.
162. That's how many.
Exactly, right? It could be something like that where they're like, why are there so many? Okay,
that's actually how my brain is. I got 162 tabs right here.
Yeah. So this is Point Me. We are really passionate in talking about this as a better way to book with points, because there are so many vehicles now for going through and being able to just log into your card portal. Capital One is working with Hopper, and there's the Ultimate Rewards portal, all of that, where you can go ahead and redeem your points directly through the credit cards. The people who don't understand can do it. But if you do something like this, something that we know is there for just, 80,000 points for like a, round trip US to Europe, depending on, the transfer bonuses and the time of year and all of that, it's going to be 10 times that or more in the card portal. So now you're all watching me see how I can't do two things at once. So we're going to log in, and let's do, New York to Barcelona is a fun search. Let's do that more not in the middle of June, because nobody actually wants to go in June.
It's a terrible time to go.
And let's go ahead and do business and first. That's fun. So a couple things that we're doing here. One, it's going to take it a minute to load, and that is because we are searching all over the place. We have 30 some odd data sources that are feeding in here.
Whoa! Look at Delta.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so this is interesting. So we can talk about that. What this is not the price with Sky Miles. This is Club Premier. So the loyalty program of Aero Mexico, buying you a revenue ticket on Delta using your Club Premier points.
Sky Miles.
Yeah, it could have been. It won't be quite that bad for Sky Miles. So once that all populates in, you'll see and you can sort. You can go ahead and you can click on these things now and sort of look at them. But what we do is we go through all of these data sources, looking at the GDS and Amadeus and all of these things to come up with the flight information and normalize all of that, because these programs don't talk. So is it BA flight 2 or BA flight 002? We have to check and match them all up. And then we'll layer in, you'll see here in a second, it's pretty cool.
Right.
We layer in all the credit card information, but in the meantime, you can still look at things. You sort of can get a sense. It's just not tidy until we get to the very end.
Right.
And we're almost there.
So there's the reason why it takes so long. I assume, I can't for the life of me remember what the company was named, but that was doing something similar a few years back. But I was working with them, and they said that there were various data sources. So you obviously airlines programs where you're getting the data. You mentioned Amadeus and those guys. It probably is, getting it all. That's what takes a little time, right?
Right. Like if you go to delta.com, and Delta uses a data source, they use their API to power delta.com. And if you search delta.com, they are looking just at their own API and pulling that in. We're looking at 36 different that we have to pull all in and do real-time queries from in order to get the information for you. So
this was a bad day, I think.
Why? In terms of the options?
Yeah, well, I think that the price. Melinda and I are going to Tokyo in October, and I found a boatload. And even if it takes a couple of minutes for it to populate, I will say that compared to what it would be for me, usually when I do it, I have 6 or 7 windows open where I have to fill the query in. This is, even if I would consider myself as an advanced user, I'm still going to get this because it really takes the work. I put the destinations in. The only thing I would like to see, which I'm sure you guys are using from a longer term perspective also, you're probably, and I connected my award wallet account, right? So that gives me an overview of the point balances that Alexi tracks for me. And well, not him personally, but his software.
I feel like it's probably he's in there very involved checking, and he's like, "Oh, this is Tommy's account. Let me update it by hand."
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's a nice one.
So there's a lot of options. So it defaults sorting by quickest flights, which I think is important because that's like the industry standard, and I think it's helpful to know. And I've talked about this at FTUs and Chicago seminars for a decade. At a certain price point, the airlines will accommodate any lack of flexibility that you have. So if you have to have the nonstop, I think it's helpful for people to know, like, this is what it's going to cost.
Right.
And then we also have, I like to sort by the point me picks. We've put this in. It's not just the price low to high, although that's an option. The point me picks, we consider how great the program is to work with, the factoring in like the layovers and where you'd be connecting and things like that. But there's a lot of options here that I think are really reasonable.
Right.
Miles and Smiles isn't the easiest to work with, but when you think about, okay, with a transfer bonus, like 49,000 points for business class on Air Europa, like that's very reasonable.
Wait a minute. So you track also when Flying Blue has a transfer bonus from?
Yeah, this is a transfer bonus from Chase to Flying Blue, but if it were from any other card program, we'd add it in there. And so then we tell you as you go right to it, okay, we're going to do your trip from New York to Barcelona. There's some steps you're going to do. You're going to have to make an account. You're going to have to transfer your points. And then we go through and look, we're going to skip this because I already have a Flying Blue account, but we show you like right where to sign up. You don't have to learn anything. We show you
and
how to do
the transfer is instant with Flying Blue. And a lot of these programs has it instant right now.
Yeah. And we go through and we even say like, if you want to put it on hold, you can. And then we tell you here, like, you're going to need a total of 61,000 miles in your Flying Blue account. So you're going to need to transfer 49,000 miles in order to make that work, given the transfer bonuses. And we have, like a video for you so you can see exactly how to do it and just really walk you through everything step by step by step.
Wow, this is completely idiot proof.
This is the best thing ever. It's even built for people like me, Tom.
Oh, come on. Yeah, because you don't know anything.
The booking instructions I think are really a standout. Like I think it's really helpful because there's a lot of things where it's like, okay, this sounds great, but I've never heard of these Asia miles. Who are these Asia miles?
Right.
And so really walking people through step by step by step in terms of here's how you do it, here's where you go, here's how you sign up, really makes a big difference. And I think people are surprised by how many options there are. It's not just what you think. Like you might not have thought, I should check. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. This is sort of a brutal itinerary. 19-hour layover in Warsaw is not really my idea of fun, but it's helpful to have context, and easy to see like, okay, well, if it's just 3,000 more points to not have that itinerary, that's an option. Or maybe I don't mind having the London, Barcelona in economy. And then, there's these other options here. So I think a lot of options.
I like it that I noticed that too in some of the screenshots that I took from yesterday, that the insignificant legs show up as economy also. Like we were looking at flying into LA because driving from San Francisco to where we are is always a hoot. It can take anything. It's an hour and a half at 2:00 in the morning. But it can be up to 5 hours, so it's better to just fly into LA. And the last leg from San Francisco to down, it would be we would have a rent-a-car, and then we would, drive here if that wasn't the case. But we could have the last flight, and it was in economy, and it didn't matter because I was able to find the combination with JAL with 60,000 miles with using American miles, and there was a boatload of options. So
with anything else, it depends on the time of day and when you're going to do it, and this time of year and all of that. But we do show, like, as long as the ticket is a certain percent in business class, we'll show when there's these little segments like a Toronto to Montreal in economy. Who cares?
Right, and 88%. You will tell people what percentage of the flight is in the class that you requested.
Yeah. And then getting back to what you guys were talking about the broader audience, I know the hardcore people don't like this, but we show business and first together. We're going to search for both. And we'll show you both. We're not combining them. But like in this case, I don't think there are actually any first class flights. I mean, we can just control F.
Maybe through London on BA or
there's nothing on this particular day. But there's, there's lie flat seats where they're going to serve you sparkling wine. Like there's just so few first class cabins to Europe these days.
Right.
And the average American consumer doesn't understand first class. Because you have all the US carriers who market things as like business first and Delta One. And so what does first class even mean? So we combine them. The same thing, we show economy and premium economy together. We're searching for both. We recognize they're separate.
Right.
If both are there, we'll list them separately. This one's business, this one's first.
Right.
But people were just getting so frustrated because like, well, I want to fly premium economy. And they don't understand that for 9 out of 10 carriers, premium economy is just economy and you pay extra for a nicer seat.
Right.
It's very few that consider it a separate class of service.
Right.
So.
I think that so this is something that you and your people, you have obviously a ton of people that work for you with Points Pro, right? So this is a tool that everybody will be using there, right?
Yeah. So the team now with the combined company where it's Point Me. So we have everybody from Juicy Miles and everybody from Points Pros, and they start their searches here as well. And, sort of look at options and to be like, okay, what do we have going on? A lot of them, like, they're so adept that they don't really necessarily even need to, like, they know where to search, but they're starting here, doing their searches here, just in case there's something that comes up. It's also great for us for QA. Because they're like, hey, there should be something and we're not seeing it on Point Me. Like, what's going on? It lets us go down a nice troubleshooting rabbit hole. So they do that. And then, where the concierge is still valuable is for one, just the people who don't want to mess with it and they just want to pay somebody to do it. It's not like we're going to find an LA London nonstop that doesn't exist otherwise. Like if it's there, it's going to be here on the self-serve tool. But the concierge is really still helpful for doing it and doing the hand holding for the people who don't want to do it. And then the people who have complicated point situations, which I think is so many of our friends and family, where, well, we have some points here, and then my spouse has some points here, and our daughter-in-law has some miles here, and we just want to do this trip. Right. So, they really know the best ways to sort of combine things or which points to use when. And that's where their expertise really comes through with a lot of these. And then some of the other stuff that the self-serve tool doesn't support yet, like pricing of multi-city trips with stopovers. It will eventually. And like everybody on this call knows that, with this Aeroplan itinerary, you could add in a stopover and it would change the pricing a certain way. The self-serve tool doesn't calculate that yet. You can still search for all the flights. The inventory is there. We just can't price it yet across all programs.
Yeah, but I see like the concierge would, and for people to know the complexity of this is what typically, like you said, I would use this as the first one because this is so easy to get a good overview. The alternatives could be if we were to go to Barcelona, we could find if there wasn't anything available, if it was a high volume day or a day where little availability, we could fly to other destinations in Europe and use those as destinations. There are things that you can do that a system will never catch. So I do think that though this is a great page. I will claim that a tool like this is a great place for everybody to start because you take a lot of wasted time out of your day that you can do on other things for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I find that it's making me lazy. So that's sort of the litmus test.
Nothing wrong with that. So I think this is great. I think that I would most definitely recommend that that you guys check it out. Points.me is the site. And we'd love to do that. And we're also going to, include a link to your in our monthly newsletter that you get. A little bit of for all the people who follow the FTU and for those who follow who are our premium members that are our annual premium members also. And I'm going to this Saturday we have our virtual seminar, one of the 8 we have per year. I'm going to do a quick demo also, if you don't mind, Tiffany. I'm going to show it off a little bit in my interest session and with the membership that I got. So thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully this is a massive success. I think you're the tops, and we love you to death, and it's so great to see that you guys are so intuitive and that you're coming out with such a cool product for make things easier for people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You guys have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. So
that's going to do well.
Yeah, no kidding. So we also we have Rudy was supposed to come on now. I don't hello. Well, he's still got his broken arm. He took his cast off yesterday, actually.
Oh, he did.
He did. And I think that he maybe he's medicated. I don't know. I don't think so. I thought he was done with that. It was a little painful, but I just texted him. We'll see when we come out. But we got a lot of other things to talk about in the meantime. We were going to talk with him about him and I visited the Capital One Lounge in Dallas on Saturday. We had a great time. I have some pictures from there. But let's cover what else is going on in the world today. And we picked a couple of cool things to talk about. Let's start about everybody's favorite airline restarting their bus service. And I gotta tell you, this picture right here makes a lot of sense to me. It's a gray bus.
Oh, easy now, Tommy. I think the concept is actually sound. And
I know. I can't get over this picture though, because it just makes a lot of sense to me. But anyway, so what they're doing is restarting. There was it goes with landline bus, and they go to Atlantic City, and where else do they go?
What's the little town? Is it Allentown?
Yes, Allentown.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So I think Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is and also to Atlantic City. So do they come to the tarmac to pick you up, or how does that work?
That's the part that I did not study, Tommy. I'm thinking if you could clear security at the small airport and then board your bus, I think that's going to make it kind of convenient. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the point of the whole thing.
Right. Lower carbon emission. Well, maybe you should get one of those Mercedes hybrid buses from Europe. Those Prevost ones are a little bit, kind
of Ford-like or something. Is that?
So United also has the same service that they pick up they got your skis and they check. You can check your bag. I think it's to both Aspen and to Breckenridge. And when you check in, you give them your skis, you give them your bags, and you're checked in for your flight. And when you get to Denver Airport, you just go into you go through security, and there you go. Same thing. I assume that's here as well. They had this little hut downtown Aspen that I remember, where it says United, and you go there and you check in and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it is more convenient than renting a car for sure. And also with the car rental prices that can fluctuate a lot lately.
Sure.
I don't know. But I mean, at the end of it, all joking aside, Lufthansa does something similar with trains in Germany. You're on your own. I know United also did that out of Newark. You've got helicopters also out of Newark and JFK to the city, to Manhattan, where you can do various things as well. So, I'm not a seamless experience. It's definitely not a bad thing, but and also Atlantic City. But the question, I don't know if Trager is on, but he usually flies Spirit from Charlotte to Atlantic City because the airport's right there. Maybe he doesn't have to do that now. But it's,
yeah, I probably.
If this bus was yellow, I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So let's go over to talk a little bit about the mergers situation.
Oh, good times.
Yeah. So what do we have here? So we noticed 2 weeks ago, or the last time we had a chat, we also talked a little bit about the bid that Frontier put on to buy Spirit.
Sure.
So that was 1 was that? A couple of weeks ago. So I feel like it's we're kind of here now into a bidding war. We've got JetBlue coming on to talk a little bit about. They also want a little bit of nibble on this bone here. How do we feel about that?
I'll tell you, maybe I should have seen it coming, but I did not. That was if I could have picked two more different companies, I would. I don't know if that's possible, but on the other hand, Spirit has a healthy order book of airplanes, and JetBlue wants more airplanes.
Right.
And, if the plan is to spend the capital to really integrate the Spirit aircraft into the JetBlue standard of service,
right.
Hey,
Well, I'm going to be a fuddy-duddy here and said I'm not for this at all. This country there's too many mergers. It's not good for the consumers. Pricing now tells us that it's not good for the consumers. Massive profits and full airplanes, and also we've merged ourselves to death. I still maintain that till the day where there's we're in America. It's supposed to be free competition. Everybody should be able to start. If you're a foreigner or if you are an international airline, you can't start an airline here. You can't even own more than 1/3 of it, or I think 30%. So I say no. We say no to more airline mergers. Well, you don't say, but I say no to more mergers. We say until there's competition, until I can hop on an Emirates flight between San Francisco and JFK, I say nay. I vote nay.
I'm not going to vote either way. I think it's an interesting concept. Spirit has an interesting business model, not like anyone else.
Right.
And that's going to be, if JetBlue is successful in closing the deal, the mishmash of putting all that together, the technological challenges, the logistical challenges of putting those airlines together are going to be interesting to watch. We'll just see.
And also we're seeing JetBlue is at 69.2% last year on time.
Yeah, they did not have a good on-time record.
Well, we have to blame JFK for a lot of that, though.
I'm sure.
But at the end of the day, the world's got, it's got a lot of, there are a lot of excuses on this planet, but Spirit was last year at the very top with 88.6% of their flights on time.
That's true. You see, my first experience with Spirit was when we ground handled them at my former employer at DCA, and they had a lot of old DC-9s and the oldest MD-80s ever. And they were a different company back then, but the name has lived on with me, and I've avoided them at all costs.
I have no issues with Spirit. I think that I fly them when it makes sense. Like from here to Vegas, I pay $19 for the ticket, and I paid $69 for the big front seat. And I paid like $20 for whatever it is it was still way under $100 for me to sit in this first class seat with my carry-on bag, no service. They give you booze and like a little. It's a little bit strange, but it's fine. I mean, I have no issues. I for short flights, I care a lot more about being on time than I do care about
I can see that
yellow
absolutely.
or not.
I empathize. I know they're a different company than they used to be when I first interacted with them, but and that big front seat concept has always interested me as well.
Right. Well, maybe on in August, maybe we should take a Spirit flight together and go do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. Next thing I have on my schedule is an article that came out this morning about Frontier. This is the end of the Denver terminal, right? They have everything's on the ground, and they wanted to ditch the jet bridges in Denver and board with stairs instead. Which, how do we feel about that?
Well, I'm sure it lowers their employment costs, but since it never snows or rains or does anything weird weather-wise in Denver, I'm not sure I'm a fan, to be honest.
That's obviously the only pros and cons. The only con here is that. I mean, I don't see any. any other issues. I mean, first, as you could see, the way that some of these planes are parked, I don't even think you need to push them back. You can just save money and time on that, but they're firing up and yoking it over to take off. I mean, this is the way that you're done on smaller airports in Europe as well. I mean, I don't have any experience here.
Stand on the toe brakes and hope for the best.
Nah, I don't. I think that you'll be fine. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are the worst in the world. You know, America, when it comes to the time it takes for us to turn around an airplane. It is just brutal from A to Z how long that takes. So the advantages by doing it like this, when it's not snowing, is that you can use both doors, front and back. Sure. It takes half the time to get people off the plane and half the time to get people on the plane. And also, it takes a shorter time to park the plane. It takes shorter time to push the plane because you don't have to dock it or anything like that. It's not a big saving with that, but at the end of the day, tarmac stuff is. But it's then you have the mindset about this. You know, I watched a thread on Facebook, United Airlines Premier 1K. And Million Miler Forum, and they were like, "Oh, this is Ryanair. Oh, I don't want this. Oh, my bad. I'm gonna have to carry my carry-on bag." Well, you know, you shouldn't be bringing a carry-on bag that it has the weight of a dead dog in it, man. That's kind of the issue. So
you're right about that. And let's face it, the guy that's going to complain about that's probably not booking a ticket on Spirit anyway, or Frontier.
Yeah, no, I think so. But I think that there's a mindset that Europeans are. You know, the standard turnaround time on a 737-800 with 86 seats for both Ryanair and for Norwegian, and also for SAS, they have 101 row less they have on there. So it's one low rest on there. Actually, you know what? I think it's a 3-seater less. I think they have 183 seats on it. So it's 25 minutes. There is no way in hell that you can turn a 737 in less than an hour here in the U.S. If we're really.
I think that's generally true, and I think Europeans are much better about not carrying 80-pound, rucksacks on board with them too.
Yeah, but I mean, the airlines are partially to blame, or actually entirely to blame, because
for allowing
it on Southwest, the 2 bags are free.
Yeah.
Then it's turning a Southwest plane or finding a room for your bag at a Southwest plane. Even if you're the last dude to board a Southwest plane, it's never an issue finding a place for your bag.
That's true.
I think it's a cultural thing. But I think that this is fascinating. I give this a thumbs up. I think that, quicker turnaround equals more money and cheaper tickets. Do we dare?
Yep.
Probably not.
We can hope for the best with. I don't know. I saw something on Twitter today about per gallon fuel prices of New York Harbor. Jet fuel was like $4.42 a gallon or something along those lines.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. So, all right. So we'll go back over to, this is where you make your the $1 million I pay a year to be on this
sure
thing. This is where you make your pay. We're gonna talk a little bit of. We're going to talk a little bit about that incident, that unresponsive Air France Boeing 777 aborts landing in Paris. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not the worst. It's not the worst headline I've seen. I saw another one, but it seemed to have been edited. I was going to use it for the show today, but it seems like the whole article was edited. Maybe it's because I gave a lot of shit to the guy who wrote it, who I love to death, by the way, but we're not going to mention that here. He's a hell of a guy, but I feel like, just like me, I should stay in my lane when it comes to this thing and wait for the authorities to come out with a conclusion. What do you think?
That's the way I lean too. No doubt. So
we have professional people that, so I have a guy that I follow on YouTube. His name is Juan Brown, and he's a 777 pilot with American Airlines, everyone's favorite airlines. We saw their flagship Previs bus, picture of it a little bit earlier. But this guy, he is one hell of a YouTuber, and he's an authority. We got into it in a couple of things where I disagree with him, like the 5G conversation. I was in telco, so I feel like he needs to stay his lane on that one. But besides that, we get along very well. And I think that he is he's definitely the authority. Every time there's an incident or something happens, I don't turn on anything until I've seen what he had to say about it, because he's a smart guy. I like him a lot. So the preliminary thought here, what was said on PP Rune last night and stuff, is the French guys, they screwed it up. They put the wrong approach information into the flight management center. And the second theory here is that there is interference in the localizer. So, but the world and the press and everybody, they want to tell us that it's something. Oh, it's Boeing, and Boeing with their Max. Now they're crashing again. Oh my God!
The 777's a fairly sound airframe. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a very sound airplane, and I think that flight controls in general. I know that we don't want to talk. You want to talk about this, but I think that it's important to wait until a professional conclusion, even if it's the BEA, the French authorities that are
absolutely.
Going to yeah. So I think that it's important for us to wait, but I'm not expecting any big surprises on this one.
Neither am I, and it could be. I'll be curious to see. It'll come out. I'll be curious to see if the airplane was being flown by the autopilot.
Yep. Well, we did hear an alarm go off, but that alarm is used for multiple things. I do go to the Blanco Lirio channel if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about this. Juan definitely knows what he's talking about. He is a 777 pilot. He flies the 300 ER for American mostly, and he lives right up the valley from me here. It's very, very close by. And it's one hell of a guy. So I would check that out. It's good information to have if you're interested in this kind of stuff. But I think that it's safe to say that the way, like we talked about earlier, the 777 was kind of the last airplane to be, not too fancy in regards to how it's put together and complicated in regards. I don't know how to put words on it. You probably know it better than me.
It was a I believe to be a very well engineered Boeing airplane.
Right. And we've seen it so far that it has not had a single incident that has, or accident that has had an issue with the airplane. But I think that it's. People, what happened? There are two theories that are going on right now, and none of which that there's anything wrong with the airplane. So get on it and go out and fly and see the world, I think is the advice to give. And we'll see what the French have to say about this.
Absolutely. I'm anxious to see what comes out, and I'm going to watch this video as soon as we're done here. I haven't turned to this yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah. No, it was a small deviation. It took very few seconds before they turned off the autopilot before hitting the toga button, maybe, or whatever they did. They saved the airplane. It wasn't
sometimes things happen.
Yep. We'll see what happens when the French come out with a conclusion there. And there you have it. So what else do we want to talk about? We have for those who are annual members, remember that this Saturday, the 9th, we have one of our 8 annual seminars, and I think, aren't you and I on that one? Are we? Hang on, I don't remember if we were. Let me see what we're going to be covering this Saturday. It is. Yeah, we're talking about credit card strategies at 8 a.m. on a Saturday.
You and I are?
Who the hell planned that? So it's you, me, and David Feldman for 40 minutes. We're going to be chatting about Built Capital One, Point, and more. The new kids on the block and the 2022 credit card strategy. Then we've got Carissa Rawson, who is a veteran lady who I like her a lot. She's from San Diego. She was in the military. She served overseas a couple of times. She's got a blog called Just Plain Points. She's going to talk to the newbies about the trips you can take with a single sign-up bonus. I always love those challenges so they can put things together. Even if you're experienced, she is going to present some good ideas.
Sure.
And then at 9:30 all Pacific time, or Best Coast time, if you will, BST, is 9:30 a.m. We're talking about with Steve Kay and Deborah Schroeder about how to take your world of hiking to the next level. So that's on Saturday. And as usual, all of these virtual seminars are free for those who are annual members that pay $69 a year. And that's pretty much it. I guess Rudy forgot all about our get-together today, but that's okay. He probably needed a nap. We'll get Rudy to come on for our next show in a couple of weeks. I don't think we have anything else we need to cover.
No, I think we covered it all.
Yeah. So thanks so much, Marshall, for joining again today. And we will catch you guys in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for joining you out there. And I hope you enjoyed all our chit chat and visit from Tiffany. Awardex. That's the name of the company that was there before that did this stuff.
I remember that.
There you go. Finally, my brain would only take 45 minutes to wake up. Awardex. Yeah, I don't think they're around anymore, but I'm gonna actually check on that to see. I'm gonna text my buddy Vlad, who is here in San Francisco. Last time I talked to him is a year and a half, 2 years ago, when he had a Bentley Bentayga and the Bentley Bentayga and like this SUV Bentley.
Yeah.
And he had a valet. He had a parking spot at the Four Seasons because he had an office right next door to that. And they didn't notice how tall the car was. They drove it into the garage and it jammed in there. So the whole car got wrecked. That's the last time I talked to him. I got to get everybody an update on that. So I'll check in with him in a couple of weeks. Thanks everybody for joining. Right. And thanks Marshall for coming by as always. And we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.